So apparently you guys like quitters because my video, Why I Quit the Only Good Indians, is one of my more popular videos. So you are in luck because I quit another novel. It is The Boy on the Bridge by M.R. Carey. So this is the tale of why I quit that novel. I think it's worth mentioning that I really enjoyed The Girl with All the Gifts, which is the sequel. I guess The Boy on the Bridge is supposed to be a prequel to this novel. I didn't get through the entire thing, but that's what I read in the description. And I think it's important to explain why I enjoyed that novel so much, why it worked. It begins at the heart of character. We have Miss Justineau, who is a teacher, not any ordinary teacher. She is teaching zombies, or in this book called hungries, which another attempt at naming zombie something else, and I'm writing a zombie kind of story myself, so I understand why you don't want to call it a zombie, but that's beside the point. So we open the book with a young girl named Melanie, and she's one of these hungries, but doesn't quite know what she is, and we're slowly introduced to this world through all of these draconian measures that she's subjected to, and we kind of know something's not quite right. And then finally we see her introduced to Justineau, and she idolizes her. She looks at her like a mother, and that begins a very close relationship between these two characters, and one that mirrors the conclusion of the entire novel. So that is why I felt The Girl with All the Gifts was a great novel. And that is also why The Boy on the Bridge is not a great novel. So we're introduced to Rena, who is a scientist in this giant rolling structure laboratory thing called the Rosalind. And the counterpoint to her, or I should say the counterpoint to Melanie in this, is a boy named Steven. He's what they describe as someone who is on the spectrum. So he's a little bit strange, a little bit reserved. He's a little bit in his own head, but he appears to be a brilliant boy. And he's kind of driving the narrative forward into just discovering what these hungries are about, and maybe educating us in the process. And I forgot to say something about Rena. She's pregnant. So cool concept, right? You have a pregnant woman in the apocalypse surrounded by zombies. It's not interesting because in the first 42% of the novel that I read, there is nothing compelling done about it. There's really no stakes to be seen here. You can think of a million ways to make that interesting. She gets left out somewhere. She's in danger. She starts to go into labor. Maybe there's some conversations between her and the father about what they're going to do, how this child is going to live in the world. And, you know, there are very, very small instances of that. But as in this review, I forgot to mention she was pregnant. While I was reading it, I forgot as well. And so I think that is a major failing with the character, with the book in general. And the relationship between Rena and Steven is established sort of in an expository dump. So you learn about their history together and why they should be so close-knit. However, they don't really feel like they are ever in the story. Sure, there's interactions, but it's just the emotional weight is not there. I didn't feel for either of them. I didn't identify with their relationship and how the world they found themselves in could affect it. Problem two, way too many characters, way too many chapters that go nowhere, way too much exposition. Now, I know that's a lot of things to cover in a second thing, but bear with me. So there's soldiers everywhere. There's scientists everywhere. There's just far too many characters to deal with. And I feel like that is why The Girl with All the Gifts succeeded as well. Is that sure, there was a massive amount of people, I guess, like sort of in the periphery, but the core group of people, it was very, very few, and that allowed us to explore these relationships and feel with these characters and walk with them side by side into this interesting world they found themselves in. However, in this one, it almost feels as if Carey was trying to really expand upon the world. There's a lot of information here. There's a lot of flashbacks that don't seem to matter whatsoever. There's plenty of chapters that do not have Steven or Rena in them, and I found myself wondering, what was the point of that? There's even a chapter that just kind of outlines the team. It's like a laundry list of who's who, what they do, where they are, etc., etc., and it just, I didn't understand it. And so normally I have a 30% rule, right? So, or 33%, a third of the book. I try to give it that much, which I feel is very generous. I made it to 42, and you're probably asking me, well, why did you quit when you were almost halfway? All these things I'm talking about just chipped away and chipped away and chipped away at my interest in this thing. And while it wasn't terrible up until that point, by the time I got there, I was just over it. I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care about where they were going. I just didn't care. And really, as an author, that's your biggest fear, right? Is nobody cares about your characters or what's going to happen to them, because really that's the only reason anyone consumes story, period. Because if we didn't care, the spectacles just don't matter. And so unfortunately, I felt like this book, it had some interesting moments in it, but it was just kind of meandering. It felt like it had lost its way. It didn't know what to do with its two main characters. It didn't know how to make you care about them. And I did read some reviews that did complain that Carey was trying the same tricks as he did in the first one, meaning, you know, Melanie is Steven and Justino is Rena. But that doesn't bother me, because I think really at any story, you want these core, these familiar, these traditional elements to be present there, because they're the ones we identify with most. So that didn't bother me at all. What bothered me is that he didn't do that. He had the stage set. He had these two characters. He had a relationship established, but he just did not cultivate it in the way he did in the first one. And I'm not sure if he wanted to revisit this world, or if it was the publisher forcing him to because of the wild success of his first novel. But this may just be a good reason why you should just let a story be what it is. Let it lie, because a lot of times when you try to revisit that world, unless it's part of a defined series, it just may fall flat, like this one did for me. So my fellow quitters out there, did you quit this novel? Did you read this novel? Did you love this novel? Do you disagree with me? I'd love to hear your comments down below. But hopefully in making these videos, I'm encouraging you that it is okay to quit. There's too many books to read. You have a finite amount of time. Don't waste it on the bad ones. Good news is I'm reading Clara in the Sun right now, and I absolutely love the book so far. I'm about halfway, and I have no intention of quitting it. So look for a review as soon as I finish that. But if you'd like to see me create and not just critique, please check out my series Worth 1,000 Words, where I write a 1,000 word short story based on a piece of artwork without an outline every week. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you like story related content. Check out my books, my Discord, my live streams. The links are all down below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.